Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of my show, Top Rope Tuesday. I am your host, Maddie Anderson, otherwise known as Top Rope Squishy. And this would be episode 26. And before we get started, as always, please, if you could do me a favor, if you don't already, please subscribe. Hit that like if you're watching the video and drop me a comment. I always try to respond to people when they comment on my videos. I drop contents on Monday. So on Monday, I drop my predictions. On Tuesday, I do my wrestler of the week. And on Thursdays, I host my live show where I invite other podcasters to come on my show to talk wrestling. And so please, if you don't follow me on Instagram and Twitter, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Top Rope Squishy. And of course, if you have a moment, check out the description in the link. I have some awesome merch. This is just one of two cups that I have. And of course, lots of t-shirts, even phone cases. So, that's my Top Rope Squishy phone case. But yeah, help yourself to some squishy merch. But let's get started because I have a lot to talk about from this week's Wrestler of the Week. The reason why I went with this particular wrestler is because his birthday was October 9th, and he was an amazing wrestler. My Wrestler of the Week is none other than the GOAT, Eddie Guerrero. So, Eddie, was one of the best that there was out there. He was part of a Guerrero wrestling family, and he wrestled almost for 2 decades before he tragically passed away, really young, at the age of 38, I believe. Um, Eddie was known for a lot of wrestling moves. Particular wrestling move that I think everyone is familiar with that he, utilized as one of his finishers is the frog splash off the top rope. I mean, it was really a spectacular move. He made something so basic look incredible, but one other move that you see emulated definitely is an honor to him every time you see it is the tres amigos, which is basically three back-to-back suplexes. And my favorite tag team utilizes that as one of their finishers, uh, Santana and Ortiz. And his daughter, Shaul, she uses it as well in her arsenal. But there's so many wrestlers that utilize the Tres Amigos and they do like their own versions of it. It's just always nice to see other wrestlers, especially younger wrestlers, paying homage to the goats of, the past, like Eddie Guerrero. A couple of wrestling facts for you, and I say a couple, but it's a lot. So bear with me as I go through some interesting information about Eddie Guerrero that some of you might know, some of you might not know. He was um, big when I was watching WWE back when it was WWF and when I used to watch WCW. So I grew up with Eddie. So Eddie definitely was someone who made an impact, at least in my life, when it came to wrestling. Definitely one of the top 10, I guess, for me, especially being a Latina on top of everything else. It's always nice to see your own people out there. You know what I'm saying? So big ups to Eddie. Um, so Eddie debuted in 1987, and eventually, he ended up at ECW and WCW and then WWE back when it was still WWF. Um, from the 1990s to 2005. But before he got to ECW and WCW and WWE, he wrestled at AAA, which a lot of Mexican wrestlers also wrestle there, Latino wrestlers, and just people who wrestle like in the independent circuit go to AAA wrestling. He tagged with someone called Art Barr. He actually tagged with other people, but this was the last person he ended up tagging with in this company. And he was eventually noticed by ECW, him and Barr, and they were asked to wrestle for for ECW in 1995, but Barr tragically passed away before him and Eddie could join them. So, you know, Eddie ended up also wrestling in NJPW from 93 to 1996. And he did debut with ECW in 95, even though Barr had passed away. He debuted as a singles wrestler. And he won in his debut, he won the ECW World Television Championship from Too Cold Scorpio. But after a series of acclaimed matches, he ended up signing with WCW. So he left ECW to go to WCW. And there he ended up winning the United States Heavyweight Championship in 1996. Guerrero joined the WWE, at that point still known as WWF, in 2000, and he won the Intercontinental title while he was in WWE during that time. And at some point, though, due to personal issues and certain personal circumstances, Guerrero was released from WWE in November of 2001. Then for two years or so, Guerrero was wrestling in the independent circuit, and he was wrestling at Ring of Honor, at WWA, at IWA, before eventually returning back to the WWE from April 2002 until the end of his career, 2005. He became the WWE champion in 2004 after defeating the champ at the time, which was Brock Lesnar, at No Way Out. But he eventually lost that title, and in 2005, he ended up joining his longtime friend and rival, Rey Mysterio. They used to tag together on and off a lot, and they tagged together to win the final title of his career, which was the WWE Tag Team Championship title. They eventually did lose the titles, and Eddie Guerrero, who made the taglines Lie, Cheat, and Steal, uh, Latino Heat, and Cheat to Win Famous, wrestled his very last match on November 11th of 2005, where he defeated Mr. Kennedy to advance to the Survivor Series team. And on the date of his passing, there was a triple threat match set between Batista, Randy Orton, and himself. But due to his tragic passing, it never came to pass. So that is where his career ended. And in 2006, he was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, where he absolutely deserves to be. To this day, Lie, Cheat, and Steal is still a famous tagline. People still pay homage to Eddie throughout all of wrestling. You see it in every company, you see it throughout the independents. It's a beautiful thing to witness. And it's sad that, he died so young, but in such a short amount of time of his wrestling career, he made such a huge impact in the wrestling world and will be forever, in my opinion, remembered in the world of wrestling. So, people, that was my wrestler of the week, Eddie Guerrero, to the GOAT, Eddie Guerrero. And of course, if you don't follow me already, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Top Rope Squishy. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, drop me a comment if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks again for joining. And as Squishadamus always says, I'll be leaving you with a lot of love, a lot of peace, but above all, y'all, a lot of wrestling. Until next time, people, Squishy's out.